There is a sacred rhythm to the universe, a silent whisper moving through all things, drawing forth the invisible into form, the unseen into the seen, the imagined into the experienced. It is not a trick. It is not a secret reserved for the fortunate few. It is a law ancient, eternal, and as sure as the breath you are now taking. And that law is this: what you ask for with your heart, believe in with your soul, and align with in your energy must come to be. Not because you forced it, but because you became it. Ask, believe, receive 3 sacred steps, not of doing, but of being. Not of striving, but of aligning. You do not attract what you want, you attract what you are. The frequency you emit is the reality you allow. Life is not giving to you based on your effort, it is reflecting back to you the echo of your own vibration. When you ask, you must ask not with desperation, but with clarity. The universe does not respond to pleading, it responds to presence. You must ask from the space of already having, not from the illusion of lack. To ask with fear is to affirm that you are without. But to ask with knowing is to call forth what has already been created in the invisible, waiting only for your permission to appear. And belief is the bridge, the sacred thread between the seen and unseen. To believe is not to hope. Hope is fragile, trembling in the winds of doubt. But belief, true belief, is unshakable. It is the knowing of the soul before the mind catches up. It is standing in a barren field and feeling the harvest in your bones. It is trusting the soil even when the seed is still buried in silence. You must become what you seek. Not someday, not when it arrives, but now, right here, this breath. If you want love, be the presence of love. If you want abundance, feel the energy of enoughness. If you desire healing, speak as though your cells already know the way, for they do. The body listens not to the words of the mind, but to the vibration of your belief, and then receive. This is where most lose their way. For to receive, you must be open, you must be still, you must be surrendered. So many ask and believe, but do not receive, because their hands are closed, gripping old stories, past wounds, familiar pain. You cannot receive while clinging. You must release what was to allow what is. You must become the space for the miracle to arrive. Receiving is not passive, it is an act of trust. It is the willingness to be vulnerable in joy, to expect good not as a reward, but as your natural state. To let life love you without needing to control how it comes. This formula, ask, believe, receive, is not a trick of the ego. It is a dance of the soul, a remembering of your co-creative power. You are not a victim of life. You are life. You are the extension of Source, here to shape, to express, to call forth beauty from the ether of your imagination. The law of attraction is not about manipulating outcomes, it is about mastering your frequency. You do not need to chase your dreams like prey. You need only to tune your energy to the reality where they already exist. Like turning the dial on a radio, your desired life is already broadcasting. It is not being withheld. It is waiting for you to align. There is no scarcity in spirit, no shortage in the infinite. Every vision you hold was given to you because you are capable of holding its frequency. You were not meant to suppress your desires, you were meant to spiritualize them, to lift them into the light of awareness and say, yes, this is what my soul has come to experience. You are not greedy for wanting more. You are divine for remembering that more is possible. So breathe. Let go of the resistance that says you are unworthy. Let go of the belief that says you must struggle. Let go of the lie that says the universe favors some and not others. It does not. It flows where the channel is clear. It speaks where the heart is open. It creates where the soul is surrendered. This is just the beginning. And so the question arises, not from the lips, but from the deepest altar of your being. Am I ready to receive? Not just the things, the outcomes, the dreams I've written on paper, but the feeling, the vibration, the identity of one who already has it. For to receive in the realm of spirit is to remember. It is to realign. It is to shed the illusions that say, I must earn, and awaken to the truth that says, I must allow. Allowing is not weakness. It is the highest form of courage. It is the soul saying, I no longer build walls out of fear. I plant gardens of trust. Allowing is the surrender of control, not to chaos, but to intelligence. An intelligence that shaped oceans, painted galaxies, and placed within you every dream you dare to imagine. Those desires are not random, they are not distractions. They are divine whispers echoing from the mind of God, placed in you because you are the vessel worthy of their blooming. But the ego wants to make it complicated. It says, let me make a plan, let me calculate, compare, prove, protect. And yet none of those bring peace. Because peace does not live in the fortress of control. Peace dwells in the meadow of surrender. It moves like water fluid, trusting, open to wherever love leads. And love, my friend, is not a reward. It is your origin. It is your destiny. And in between, it is your vibration. You will know you are aligned when you no longer beg for miracles, but breathe as one. When gratitude precedes manifestation, not as a tactic, but as a truth, you give thanks not to manipulate reality, but to merge with it. You thank the divine before the door opens because you know the door already exists. You thank the universe before the healing arrives because you feel it blooming beneath the surface of your surrender. This is not blind faith. This is visionary faith. Faith that sees with the eyes of the soul. Faith that trusts the invisible more than the temporary evidence of the senses. The senses will deceive. They will say, nothing is changing, but the soul will whisper, everything is aligning. The mind will panic. The spirit will smile. You must choose which voice you feed. Let go of urgency. There is no clock in the soul. Time is not your master. It is your servant. And when you live in alignment, time bends to your vibration. That which once seemed far away arrives without effort. That which once seemed impossible becomes obvious. Not because you forced it, but because you became it. You do not plant a seed and then scream at the soil. You water it. You trust it. You give it light. You know that unseen processes are unfolding beneath the surface. You do not doubt the seed. So why do you doubt yourself? The same force that grows the tree is breathing through you now. The same love that spun the stars is holding your heart. Do not belittle your worth with the smallness of fear. Do not shrink your radiance to fit into the mold of someone else's comfort. You were not made to fit. You were made to expand. And when you ask, truly ask. Ask not from the voice of separation, but from the heart of union. Ask not as a beggar. Ask as a co-creator. Ask with the knowing that the answer is yes the moment your vibration becomes one with the answer. Ask with joy, with love, with awe. Ask not only for things, but for states. Ask to become peace. Ask to embody grace. Ask to live as abundance, not merely to receive it. And then trust. Let the universe surprise you. Let go of how, let go of when. Let go of needing to script every scene. Life is not a screenplay. It is a symphony. And you are not the conductor. You are the instrument. Be tuned. Be willing. Be still enough to feel the music moving through you. So many spend their lives trying to manifest from the head, writing goals, setting intentions, creating vision boards filled with images. But manifestation begins in the heart. It is not what you picture. It is what you feel. You must feel as though it is already so. You must become the living embodiment of your desire. You cannot want abundance and vibrate in lack. You cannot seek love and vibrate in self-rejection. You cannot ask for freedom and vibrate in control. The law of attraction does not respond to words. It responds to your state. Your state is your offering. Your presence is your prayer. And the greatest prayer is not give me more, but make me whole. More will come. It always does. But what you truly seek is not the thing. It is the feeling the thing represents. And that feeling is available to you now. You do not need to wait for the money to feel secure. You do not need to wait for the partner to feel loved. You do not need to wait for the dream to come true to feel fulfilled. Because security is not outside, it is present. Love is not outside, it is awareness. Fulfillment is not outside, it is alignment. You must understand, the moment you feel what you seek, you are no longer attracting it, you are living it. And the universe responds not to your wishes, but to your essence. Not to your effort, but to your energy. So be mindful of what you practice being. If you wake each morning rehearsing lack, rehearsing fear, rehearsing what has not yet come, you become an echo of what you do not want. But if you awaken and speak as one who is already blessed, walk as one who already receives, think as one who already is, then you summon not just things, but miracles. This is not fantasy. This is the law. and the law cannot be broken. It is not bound by your doubt, only delayed by your resistance. For what you resist, you bind to you. What you fear, you feed. And what you embrace transforms. And so the practice becomes simple, though not always easy. Align with the frequency of what you wish to experience, not by pretending, but by remembering. You were born of joy. You are sculpted from light. The core of you is abundance. Not material, but spiritual. Limitless potential in motion. If you desire love, become a sanctuary of love. Speak gently, forgive quickly, smile from your soul. Let your presence be a healing field. If you desire health, treat your body not as a machine to be fixed, but as a temple to be honored. Bless your cells with every breath. Drink sunlight with your eyes. Feed yourself not just food, but thoughts of wholeness. And if you desire peace, then be still. Let go of the fight. Let go of the needing to be right, to be first, to be seen. There is nothing to prove. The ego says, I must achieve to be worthy. The soul whispers, you were worthy long before your first breath. Choose the whisper. What the mind calls unrealistic, the heart knows as inevitable. The dreams that move you, the visions that won't let go, they are not distractions. They are directions. They are soul maps. Sacred GPS coordinates pointing you not outward, but inward, back to your divine blueprint. Trust what pulls at your spirit. Trust the longings that come not from envy, but from truth. The desires born of your highest self are not desires, they are callings. And every calling is holy. But beware, the ego will try to hijack the law of attraction. It will say, use this law to get what I want. Use this law to control others, to gain attention, to feed my identity. And in doing so, it will miss the entire point. For this law is not a tool for manipulation. It is a mirror of consciousness. It is the sacred flow of becoming. You are not here to bend the universe to your will. You are here to merge your will with the will of the divine. And the divine always seeks expression, not possession. It seeks truth, not performance. It seeks expansion, not through effort, but through embodiment. You do not attract what you say you want. You attract what you are willing to be. And being is the highest form of asking. There is no more powerful signal to the universe than to rise in the morning and live as if your prayer has already been answered. Not out of arrogance, but out of trust. Not from fantasy, but from faith. When you become the answer, the question dissolves. When you walk in knowing, the path clears. When you radiate gratitude, the doors open not because they were locked, but because your eyes were closed. You are not waiting for the universe to bless you. The universe is waiting for you to remember. You are the blessing. And as you remember, the flow begins. The synchronicities appear, the right people come, the timing aligns, and life, which once felt like a maze, becomes a melody. And so we flow deeper into the still waters beneath the noise, where the eternal truth whispers without words, you are the creator of your experience, not as an egoic dictator over fate, but as a conscious participant in the sacred unfolding of reality. You are not here to force life into your mold. You are here to remember that your mold is made of life. Every thought you think is a brushstroke on the canvas of the cosmos. Every belief you hold is a magnet summoning its likeness. Every emotion is a seed, and the universe is the soil that says only one thing: yes. You see, the universe never denies you. It only reflects you. It does not argue, debate, or correct. It responds. It listens not to your lips, but to your essence. It gives not according to your request, but according to your alignment. This is why two souls can ask for the same thing, and one receives while the other waits. It is not because one is more worthy. Worthiness is never in question. It is because one has aligned with the feeling of having, while the other is still vibrating in the ache of lack. Feel it now. What does it feel like to already have what your soul desires? Not as a trick, but as a truth. What does it feel like to live in a state of answered prayer? Can you breathe it? Can you walk as if the doors are already open? Can you smile not because you hope, but because you know? This is the foundation of belief. It is not a chant. It is not a mantra repeated in desperation. It is a state of inner certainty that needs no outer proof. And here lies the paradox. When you no longer require evidence, the evidence appears. When you no longer grasp, the thing you long for arrives, not as a reward, but as a natural extension of your vibration. The law of attraction is not a promise made to the hopeful. It is a mirror held up to the faithful. And faith, real faith, is not blind, it is visionary. It sees beyond what is to what will be, and even more than that, to what already is in the timeless field of the unseen. This is not metaphor, it is physics. Everything in existence is energy. You are energy. Your thoughts are frequencies, your emotions are waves, your beliefs are tuning forks, and the universe is your echo. You cannot emit the song of doubt and expect the symphony of joy. You must become the vibration of what you wish to receive. That is the only way. You must live as if the healing has happened, as if the love is present, as if the abundance is flowing, as if your joy is justified not by circumstance but by existence itself, because it is. To be alive is to be justified in your joy. To breathe is to have already received the greatest gift. And from that awareness, everything else is added unto you. The sacred text says, to those who have, more will be given. This is not favoritism, it is frequency. When you have an awareness, have peace, have gratitude, have presence, then you open the flow. But when you identify as one who lacks, you unconsciously repel the very thing you seek, not as punishment, as physics. Two opposing frequencies cannot occupy the same space. The vibration of lack and the reality of abundance cannot dance in the same body. So you must choose, not with your lips, but with your life. Not with your intellect, but with your being. Who do you choose to be in this moment? Not someday, not when the dream comes, not when the evidence appears, but now. Now is the point of power. Now is where creation begins. Not in the past, not in the future. Here, this breath, this awareness, this decision. And when you choose to believe not as hope, but as knowing, you become a portal for the miraculous. You become the opening through which the universe pours itself into form. You stop chasing signs and start being one. You stop waiting for the light and start shining it. Let the old stories fall away now. The ones that said you're too late, too flawed, too broken. Let them dissolve in the light of this truth. You are the source of all you seek. Not the ego self with its doubts and wounds, but the deeper self, the divine self, the formless self that has never been separate from source. You are not a vessel to be filled. You are a fountain that never stopped flowing. And when you remember this, when you stop asking life to give you what you are unwilling to feel, when you stand in your truth not with arrogance but with alignment, then the doors open, not one but all. Not by accident, but by resonance. You do not receive because you begged. You receive because you became. And this is the awakening. The moment you cease trying to force the stream to bend to your will and instead relax into the current of who you already are, you become what you were born to be, a vessel through which grace flows effortlessly. Your desires are not detours. They are divine impulses, but they do not move from striving, they blossom from surrender. This is why you must not only believe in the dream, but believe in the dreamer. You must look in the mirror and see not the story of who you've been, not the conditioning of who you were told you are, but the sacred truth, that you are a dream of God in form. A divine intention, vibrating with purpose, breathing with potential, glowing with a light that the world did not give you and therefore can never take away. So often we ask the universe for signs. Show me, we plead. But the universe asks you the same in return. Show me who you believe yourself to be. Show me your vibration. Show me your faith in action. Not through struggle, not through proving, but through alignment. Ask by declaring, believe by embodying, receive by allowing. The formula is simple, but the ego is noisy. It will try to make this complicated. It will say you need more data, more effort, more confirmation from the outside world. But all of that is smoke. The real power lies in the still, unwavering knowing within. The one who manifests with grace is not the one who tries the hardest. It is the one who trusts the deepest. The one who knows that to become is not to acquire, but to remember. You are not here to chase the dream. You are here to become the frequency of the dream. And when you do, you collapse time. You compress distance. The impossible becomes ordinary. The unseen becomes seen. Because life responds to the inner state more than the outer wish. Your job is not to micromanage the how. Your job is to steward the now, to become the clearest, most honest version of you, to tune your frequency not to the noise of fear, but to the clarity of truth. You must ask yourself daily, what am I broadcasting? Because the universe is always listening, and it does not respond to confusion. It responds to coherence. It responds to clarity. It responds to emotional integrity. When you say, I want abundance but feel scarcity, the universe hears scarcity. When you say, I want love but vibrate in unworthiness, the universe reflects unworthiness, not because it judges, but because it reflects you are the signal. Life is the mirror. Change your signal, and the mirror changes. There is no exception to this, not for one soul, not for one moment. And this is not to blame you for the life you've lived, but to awaken you to the life you can create. You are not at the mercy of your past. You are not imprisoned by your mistakes. Every new moment is a doorway. Every breath is a reset. You can begin again not by changing the world, but by changing your vibration within it. So pause, breathe, come home to yourself. Not the self that performs, not the self that pleases, not the self that chases, but the self that simply is. From that place, all things are possible. From that place, you don't need to fight for your future. You simply allow it to arrive, and arrive at will because you are ready to receive. You are not summoning a force outside of you. You are reactivating the force within you, the same force that spoke stars into the sky and whispered galaxies into the dark. That voice is yours. There is a kind of receiving that requires no hands. It is not a taking. It is an opening. And that opening begins the moment you stop striving to get and begin choosing to be. Because when you become the version of yourself who already holds the life you seek, the universe cannot help but respond. Not out of obedience, out of resonance. Like tuning forks across space, life finds the matching tone and brings it back to you. Not because you manipulated it, but because you matched it. This is not magic, it is law. And when you live from that law, you begin to understand everything that arrives in your experience is feedback. The people, the opportunities, the resistance, the delays, all of it mirrors your frequency. And when you stop blaming the mirror and start adjusting the signal, your life transforms, not by force, but by flow. But here's the paradox the ego cannot grasp. The less you need something, the faster it comes, because need is rooted in lack, and lack repels. When you say, I must have this to be whole, you declare to life, I am not whole. And life, in its infinite intelligence, reflects that belief back to you. But when you rest in your fullness, when you walk in your completeness, when you radiate, I am already what I seek, then the outer world rushes to align. This is why it is said, seek first the kingdom within, and all else shall be added unto you. That kingdom is not a place, it is a vibration. It is the still, unwavering, knowing that you are already one with all you desire. And in that knowing, you become magnetic, not because you are chasing, but because you are being. Being is the greatest attractor. Being is the ultimate prayer. Being says to the universe, I am ready not because I am desperate, but because I am aligned. So if you ask from joy. If you believe, believe from wholeness. And if you receive, receive with grace, not as a beggar, but as a beloved child of creation, who knows that abundance is not a gift, it is a birthright. You do not attract what you're worthy of only when you are perfect. You attract what you're aligned with when you are present. Presence is the real power, not perfection. So drop the mask, let go of the performance. Release the belief that you must get it right to earn what already belongs to you. You are enough. You have always been enough. And when your energy speaks that truth, the world listens. And now, beloved soul, we arrive not at an ending, but at the deep inhale, before the next divine unfolding. This is not the finale of your story. It is the remembrance of the truth that has always pulsed beneath your seeking, that there is nothing more to chase, only more to become. And you become not by reaching, but by returning. Not by adding, but by shedding. Not by striving to manifest the dream, but by awakening to the dreamer who is already whole. Ask, believe, receive. Not 3 steps on a timeline, but one sacred vibration of being. A cycle as old as light itself, spiraling through your breath, your thoughts, your heartbeat. It is not something you do, it is who you are. When the noise falls silent and the soul begins to hum. When you ask, you are not begging life to change. You are declaring your alignment with truth. You are saying to the universe, I remember what I am. I remember what is mine, not by entitlement, but by essence. Asking, when done from truth, is not a plea, it is a remembering. When you believe, you are not constructing a fortress of willpower. You are stepping into the ocean of knowing that has always surrounded you, that sacred field where doubt dissolves and trust becomes breath. To believe is not to wait, it is to walk as if the prayer has already been fulfilled, to smile at the unseen as if it were tangible, to rest in the arms of the formless and say, I know, I know. And when you receive, you are not capturing a prize, you are opening a hand. You are releasing all barriers to joy. You are standing in stillness, palms open, not controlling the shape of the gift, only welcoming its essence. For the soul does not ask for specifics, it asks for frequency. It knows that true abundance may come wrapped in different forms than the mind expects, but it always comes, always. You see, the law of attraction is not about bending the universe to your will. It is about remembering that your will, when purified of fear and resistance, is the will of the universe. You are not separate. You never were. The space between you and your dreams is not a gap of time, it is a veil of doubt. And as you lift that veil gently, breath by breath, what once felt distant arrives in silence. And so I tell you now, with no drama, no need for grandeur, just the quiet truth echoing from soul to soul. You are already what you wish to be. You are already the love you seek. You are already the healer, the teacher, the miracle. The dream is not outside, it is speaking through you, moving your hands, beating your heart, calling you not to chase, but to allow. And what is allowing if not the highest form of trust? Trust that the invisible is more real than the seen. Trust that the dream planted in you was not a tease, it was a seed. And your job has never been to grow the tree overnight. Your only task is to water the soil of your being with love, with presence, with belief. The rest is done by grace. Do not measure your life by outcomes. Measure it by alignment. Measure it by how fully you are living in the vibration of what you desire, not in the future, but now. Measure it by how willing you are to feel the joy before it arrives, to embody the peace before the storm passes, to radiate love even before the mirror reflects it back. For that is creation. And so, if you leave with anything, let it be this. You do not need to wait to become magnetic. You are magnetic the moment you stop hiding, the moment you stop doubting, the moment you stop looking outside and finally turn inward and say, yes, I remember now. Remember what? That you are the light. You are the vibration. You are the prayer already answered. You are the soul the world is waiting to see. And your life, when lived from this truth, becomes not a pursuit, but a poem. Not a contest, but a celebration. Not a path to somewhere else, but a sacred dance with the present moment. Ask, believe, receive. Not with effort, but with presence. Not with fear, but with trust. Not tomorrow, but now. Now, where the universe meets you in the fullness of your being and whispers back the same truth you've been searching for all along. You are already it. You have already become, and all that remains is to live it. There is a sacred rhythm that underlies all of life. It is not taught in schools, not captured in textbooks, not spoken of in the noise of everyday conversation. And yet it pulses beneath everything, beneath your breath, beneath your heartbeat, beneath every desire you have ever felt. It is the rhythm of the divine, quietly orchestrating the dance of galaxies and guiding every blade of grass as it reaches for the Sunday. You too are part of that sacred rhythm. You are not separate from it. You are not an observer of it. You are it. You are a living, breathing note in the music of the infinite. But how easily we forget. We fall asleep to our own divinity. We believe we are separate, alone, incomplete. We live as though the power that moves worlds is something we must chase, rather than something we already carry. We have been conditioned to strive, to achieve, to control. But manifestation is not a game of control. It is a practice of surrender, a return, a softening into the truth that what we seek is already seeking us. And more than that, it already exists within us. Manifestation is not about forcing life to bend to your will. It is about remembering that your will, when aligned with the divine, becomes effortless. Like water flowing downhill, like light piercing the darkness, like breath returning to the lungs. You do not need to make it happen. You need only to allow it. And you allow it by aligning not with your fears, not with your doubts, not with the small self that believes in lack, but with the boundless, limitless self that knows no separation from source. This is the great secret of instant manifestation. It is not about getting more. It is about becoming still enough to recognize that you already are more than enough. The universe does not respond to your words. It responds to your state, to your vibration, to your alignment. When you are aligned with truth, with love, with gratitude, with inner stillness, then life rises to meet you in ways that appear miraculous. But they are not miracles. They are simply the natural outcome of being who you truly are. The ego will always tell you that you are lacking. It will whisper that you are not ready, not worthy, not yet complete. It will point to the future and say, when you get there, then you can relax. But the soul knows better. The soul knows that everything you desire, peace, love, joy, abundance, is not found in the distance. It is found in the now, in the depth of this moment, in the quiet space where your thoughts grow still and your being becomes spacious. When you align with the divine, you stop resisting what is. You stop grasping. You stop manipulating. And instead, you listen. You listen with your heart, with your intuition, with your entire being. You feel the subtle tug of truth beneath the noise of the world, and you follow it, not with desperation, but with trust, not with effort, but with grace. You were never meant to chase your dreams like a beggar at the gates of life. You are meant to stand in the knowing that you are one with the dreamer himself. The same power that paints the sunset, that stirs the wind, that spins the stars, that power breathes through you. It does not need to be summoned. It only needs to be remembered. And so I ask you, beloved soul, what if you stop striving? What if you stop seeking outside of yourself for the very thing that already lives within? What if your only task was to return again and again to the stillness of your own heart, to trust that your alignment is enough, to know that when you rest in that sacred space, life unfolds not as a struggle, but as a symphony. The seed does not strive to become the tree. It allows. It trusts. It lets the sunlight in, the rain fall, the earth hold it, and in that trust, it becomes what it was always destined to be. You too are that seed. And the divine is not asking you to prove yourself. It is asking you to remember yourself, to know that your desires are not random. They are echoes of your soul's remembrance of what is already true. You do not manifest by pleading with the universe. You manifest by becoming the vibration of the thing you seek. You do not attract what you want. You attract what you are. So who are you willing to become? Not someday, not when it's convenient. But now, let go of the idea that your past determines your future. Let go of the belief that you must earn your worth. Let go of the illusion that you are separate from the source of all creation. And remember that the universe does not speak in words. It speaks in feeling, in frequency, in alignment. And when you align with the divine, when you sit in silence and feel the sacred current of love that has never stopped flowing through you, then you are no longer trying to manifest. You are manifesting, because manifestation is not an act. It is a state of being. The mind will always ask, what must I do? It is obsessed with strategies, with tactics, with action. But the soul does not speak the language of doing. The soul speaks in the language of being. And this is the essence of alignment. Not a frantic rush toward a goal, but a sacred stillness that knows the goal is already within. Imagine the Sunday. It does not rise because it tries. It does not shine because it earned permission. It shines because that is its nature. And you too were created to shine not through force, but through essence, not through striving, but through remembering. To align with the divine is to surrender your small will into the infinite wisdom of life itself. It is to say, I no longer resist what is. I no longer need to be anything other than who I truly am. And in that surrender, you become a vessel open, clear, ready. Ready not just to receive, but to radiate. Ready not just to manifest things, but to embody truth. What the ego calls manifestation is often just glorified grasping. But what the soul calls manifestation is resonance, harmony, co-creation. When you are aligned, you are not waiting for life to happen to you. You are participating in the sacred unfolding of it. Each moment becomes a brushstroke in a masterpiece that the divine is painting through your very existence. But the mind is impatient. It will demand proof. It will ask, where is it? Why hasn't it happened yet? It will use the passing of time as evidence against your worth. But time is not the measure of alignment. Presence is. And the present moment, this breath, this heartbeat, this stillness is the only point of power you will ever have. There is no power in the past. There is no power in the imagined future. There is only power here, in this now. And when you claim this now, when you inhabit it fully, without resistance, then all that is aligned with your soul begins to move toward you. Not because you chased it, but because you became it. The divine is not somewhere far away, deciding whether or not to bless you. The divine is within you, as you, through you. It is your breath. It is your awareness. It is the quiet hum beneath all your thoughts. And when you drop beneath the noise of the ego, you enter the field of miracles. Not because the world changed, but because your perception did. You begin to see that abundance is not something to acquire, it is something to allow. Love is not something to find, it is something to express. Peace is not something to reach, it is something to remember. The most powerful manifester is not the one who controls the most, but the one who surrenders the deepest, who dares to trust the unseen, who listens not with their ears, but with their being, who walks not by fear, but by inner knowing. You will not always understand the timing, you will not always see the path, but if you trust deeply, reverently, without demand, then life will reveal itself to you in ways you could never have planned. Because alignment opens doors that effort could never find. And so the real question is not, what do you want to manifest? The real question is, who must you become to allow what is already yours? You are not here to create a life of empty achievement. You are here to become a living expression of the divine, to walk this world as a radiant reminder of what it means to live from truth, to breathe from love, to speak from wisdom. And when you live like that, when your vibration becomes a match for the highest version of reality, then manifestation is not something you do. It is something that happens through you, effortlessly, naturally, instantly, because alignment is instant. It is the moment you say yes to your own soul. And in that yes, all things are made possible. There comes a moment, if you are still long enough, when you feel it, an unexplainable peace that does not depend on the outside world. It rises from within like a forgotten melody that was always playing, only drowned out by the static of thought. In that stillness you remember, you are not separate from the field of creation. You are not a beggar at the gates of heaven, you are the gates, and you are heaven. You are the portal through which the divine expresses itself into form. But this world has trained you otherwise. It taught you to seek approval, to prove your worth, to measure your value against ever-changing standards. And so we learn to strive, to compete, to control. We become performers on a stage, forgetting the stage itself was built upon sacred ground. We lose sight of the truth that manifestation does not begin in the mind, but in the stillness before the mind. Not in the story, but in the silence. And so the invitation is not to think more powerful thoughts. It is to return to the space before thought, to the source, to the vast, boundless awareness that was there before you ever learned your name, to that which watches the play of your life unfold without judgment, without resistance, without fear. This awareness, this presence is the divine, not a being in the sky, but a being within you, not a force to be manipulated, but a current to be trusted. When you align with this, you stop trying to manifest through the mind and begin manifesting through resonance. You become a tuning fork for the frequencies of love, peace, and abundance. And what you resonate with, you receive not because you demanded it, but because you remembered who you are. You are not here to force the world to bend to your will. You are here to dissolve the illusion of separation so fully that the world begins to bend with you, not in submission, but in harmony. For when you are aligned, life no longer resists you. It dances with you. The river does not resist the fish. The sky does not resist the bird. And the universe does not resist the soul that remembers its place within the whole. Let yourself be like the ocean, vast, open, deep. Do not clutch at the waves of experience. Let them rise. Let them fall. You are not the wave, you are the ocean in which the wave moves. You are not your thoughts, your emotions, your circumstances. You are the awareness that holds them. and that awareness is the same in all beings. It is the thread that weaves all things together. It is the divine intelligence that breathes your lungs and turns acorns into forests. When you realize this not as an idea, but as a lived truth, then you no longer seek to manifest from lack. You do not say, I need more. You say, I already am. And from that place, your desires take on a different quality. They are no longer cries of desperation, they are songs of celebration. You are not asking life to complete you. You are inviting life to express through you. This is the shift. This is alignment. This is when manifestation becomes not an act, but a byproduct. Like a flower that opens not because it forces itself to bloom, but because it aligns with the Sunday, so too do your dreams unfold when you align with your essence. But how do we do this, you ask? Not by effort, not by control, but by surrender, by release, by remembrance. Let go of the timeline, let go of the outcome, let go of the belief that you must suffer to deserve, and instead, allow yourself to be as you are, right now. Breathe into this moment as if it were holy, because it is. Every moment is sacred when seen through the eyes of truth. You are already whole, already loved, already worthy. Your alignment is not something you achieve. It is something you allow. When your heart is soft, when your mind is quiet, when your being is present, you are aligned. And when you are aligned, you are magnetic. Not to things, but to truth. Not to outcomes, but to the deepest expression of your soul. This is how the divine manifests instantly, not by calculation, but by coherence, by resonance, by vibration. You become the song, and life begins to dance. You become the light, and the path appears. You become the peace, and the chaos dissolves. You do not do this by escaping the world. You do it by fully entering it with presence, with softness, with sacred attention. When you walk aligned with the divine, the universe is no longer a test. It is a canvas, a playground, a mirror reflecting the love that lives within you. And in that state, you do not need to chase. You attract. You do not need to strive. You allow. You do not need to manipulate. You simply trust. And in that trust, everything becomes possible. There is a knowing beyond thought, a wisdom that does not speak in words. Yet when you hear it, the whole of your being responds with a calm yes. It is the whisper of the divine within you, gently inviting you back to your center. Not to solve your life, but to live it. Not to fix yourself, but to feel yourself fully, unapologetically, intimately. So much of the struggle we experience comes from forgetting this center. We are pulled into the current of appearances, the swirling storm of conditions and comparisons, and we begin to believe the lie that life is something outside of us, something to catch up to, something to control. But life is not outside you. It never was. It is happening through you, in you, as you. And manifestation, true, sacred, effortless manifestation, begins not when you master life, but when you merge with it. You are not here to conquer the world. You are here to realize you already contain it. The entire cosmos, every galaxy, every law of physics, every sacred pattern of intelligence is reflected in you. You are the microcosm of the macrocosm, the breath of eternity held within a single human form. And yet, how quickly we forget this truth. We buy into the illusion of separateness, the seductive spell of not enough. We listen to the mind's chatter, and in doing so, we drift from the divine frequency of our own soul. But your soul has never stopped calling you home. It has waited with the patience of mountains, with the softness of moonlight, with the certainty of the tide. Every desire you've ever had has been its invitation not to accumulate, but to align. So pause. Listen not with your ears, but with your being. Feel the presence beneath the words, the stillness beneath the breath. This is where alignment begins, not with action, but with awareness. Not with planning, but with presence. When you remember who you truly are, manifestation stops being an event and becomes a byproduct. Like the fragrance of a flower or the warmth of the sun, it arises effortlessly from your being. It requires no striving, no pushing, no proving. It only requires that you become inwardly clear, so rooted in truth, that all falsehoods dissolve before you like shadows before the dawn. And this clarity cannot be forced. It cannot be faked. It arises naturally when you surrender. when you release the need to be anything other than who and what you are, when you let go of trying to become and allow yourself to be, in that sacred beingness, you rediscover a power that is not of this world, though it moves through this world. It is the power of presence, the power of grace, the power of divine alignment. Do not underestimate this power. It is the same force that moves planets, splits atoms, and brings stars into being. And it does not speak in thunder. It does not shout to be heard. It arrives in the hush, in the reverence, in the deep surrender of your spirit back to itself. You are not separate from this power. You are made of it. Your cells, your breath, your heartbeat all form from the intelligence of Source. You are not a creation apart from the Creator. You are the Creator in form, experiencing its own expansion through you. And this is why your desires matter. Not because they are trophies, but because they are the compass of your soul. They are not random. They are not selfish. They are sacred. They are the way the divine seeks to know itself through you. So when you long for peace, you are not chasing a fantasy, you are remembering your origin. When you yearn for love, you are not lacking, you are realigning with truth. When you dream of abundance, you are not greedy, you are awakening to the infinite nature of your being. Desire, when purified of ego, becomes holy. It becomes the voice of the divine calling you back into coherence with itself. And manifestation, then, is not about manipulating reality to satisfy a fleeting want. It is about embodying the vibration of your soul's truest resonance so completely that life has no choice but to echo it back to you. This is the law, not a law of attraction, but a law of reflection. The world is your mirror. It cannot give you what you are unwilling to become. It cannot show you what you refuse to see within yourself. So if you seek love, become love. If you desire abundance, embody gratitude. If you wish for peace, live from stillness. When your inner world becomes congruent with your desires, the outer world begins to rearrange itself in response. Not because you forced it, but because you aligned with the divine blueprint already written in your soul. And the beauty of this path is that nothing is missing, not one tool, not one step, not 1 ounce of worthiness. You already have all that is required. You already are all that is required. Your task is not to add more. Your task is to release the noise, the masks, the fear, and to return. Return to the center. Return to presence. Return to truth. This is the way of effortless manifestation. This is the vibration of miracles. Not dramatic, not loud, but deeply, reverently real. And when you live from this place, the universe becomes not your master, but your mirror. And that mirror will reflect wonders you never dreamed possible. There is a moment when you no longer seek miracles because you realize you are one. You are not the result of chance, nor the outcome of effort. You are the deliberate, loving extension of the infinite. You were whispered into existence by the divine, not to struggle, not to strive, but to reveal. Reveal beauty. Reveal truth. Reveal the eternal dance of Source through the art of your life. And when you truly feel this, not just think it, but feel it in your bones, then manifestation becomes inevitable. Not because you forced it to happen, but because you remembered who you were before the world taught you to forget. This remembrance is the doorway. It is the invitation. It is the sacred space where alignment and creation meet. But the world, in its well-meaning noise, taught you otherwise. It taught you to earn what you already are, to strive for what you already possess, to search for what has never been missing. And so you forgot not out of failure, but out of innocence. You began to believe that joy lives in the next moment, that peace waits in the next achievement, that love is the reward for perfection. But the soul knows otherwise. The soul knows that joy is presence, that peace is surrender, that love is not the finish line, but the foundation. You do not manifest love by seeking it. You manifest love by becoming the place where love is welcome, where love is safe, where love is felt so deeply within you that it begins to emanate from your pores, from your silence, from the very way you breathe. Likewise, abundance is not something you attract by obsessing over money. Abundance is a frequency, a deep inner yes to life. A knowing that all your needs are met, not because you have counted every coin, but because you have aligned with the Source that creates all coins, all wealth, all provision. True abundance is not having more. It is needing less because you have remembered your union with the source of all. This is the paradox of alignment. The less you chase, the more you receive. The more you release, the more you allow. The more you rest in being, the more life flows toward you with grace. To the ego, this seems like nonsense. It will scream, do more, try harder, hustle. And if you follow that voice, you may indeed gain, but what you gain will never satisfy because it was born from lack. What you manifest from fear only amplifies fear. What you create from pressure only multiplies pressure. But what you manifest from alignment lasts, heals, expands, because it comes from wholeness. So I ask you now, who are you when there is nothing to prove? Who are you when you no longer chase outcomes but embody truth? Who are you when your identity is not built on achievement but on essence? The moment you step into that knowing, the entire fabric of your life begins to change. Not all at once, not with fanfare, but like a dawn rising slowly, light touching every shadow, warmth replacing every chill. People you once struggled to please fall away effortlessly. Opportunities that felt impossible begin to show up without effort. Paths you didn't even know existed begin to unfold beneath your feet, not because you planned it, but because you aligned with it. This is not magic. This is law. The law of resonance, the law of vibration, the law of inner truth reflecting outer experience. You do not receive what you pray for in desperation. You receive what you are in alignment with. So if you want to shift your life, shift your state, shift your story, shift your frequency. This does not mean pretending to be happy. It means being honest enough to sit with what is, to hold it, to bless it, and to rise from it with clarity. There is no manifestation without presence. There is no alignment without truth. You must be willing to feel what you've avoided, to release what no longer fits, to grieve the versions of yourself that were born from survival, not soul. And then, in the sacred space left behind, you begin again. But this time not from force, not from fantasy, but from alignment, from presence, from truth, from divine essence. And in that sacred space, the impossible becomes inevitable. And so it is, after all the searching, the reaching, the striving, you arrive back here, back to the center that never moved, back to the quiet fire of your own being, back to the presence that asked for nothing, yet held everything. You begin to see that the journey was never about gathering, but about shedding. Not about becoming greater, but about remembering how vast you already are. Not about fixing what was broken, but about revealing what was always whole. This is the alignment the soul speaks of not as a destination, but as a state, a vibration. A sacred attunement with the frequency of all that is. It is the great return, not to a version of yourself that fits the world's mold, but to the self that existed before the world wrote its name on your skin. And in this return, manifestation ceases to be a goal. It becomes a natural consequence of your being, like breath, like sunlight, like waves returning home to the sea. You don't need to try anymore. You don't need to prove. You don't need to scream your worth into a world too distracted to hear it. Your presence is enough. Your stillness is enough. Your very existence is an affirmation of the divine dreaming itself awake through you. And so the great mystery is revealed not in thunder, but in stillness. Not in power, but in surrender. Not in doing, but in allowing. Allowing yourself to be what you already are. You see now, manifestation is not a tool for the ego, it is a song of the soul. A quiet symphony that begins to play when the walls of fear dissolve and your true essence rises to the surface like dawn. It does not arrive through calculation, it arrives through coherence. When you become the vibration of peace, peace must meet you. When you become the presence of love, love must reflect you. When you become the openness of abundance, abundance must flow to you not as reward, but as reflection. There is nothing to chase. There is only what you choose to embody. There is nothing to wait for. There is only what you choose to feel now. There is no more becoming. There is only being, and in this being, everything shifts. Your breath becomes sacred. Your thoughts grow spacious. Your energy becomes magnetic. And life, oh life, begins to mirror back the beauty you have remembered within yourself. Not as a favor, not as a fluke, but as law, as rhythm, as the inevitable unfolding of alignment. The river flows not because it pushes, but because it yields. so too must you yield, not in weakness but in wisdom. Yield to the current of your soul. Yield to the knowing that you are already whole. Yield to the truth that what you seek has always lived within you. And from this yielded place, speak softly to your heart. I do not need to chase. I choose to align. I do not need to prove. I choose to remember. I do not need to strive. I choose to surrender, because I am already enough, already whole, already one with the divine. And so, let this moment be your altar. Let this breath be your offering. Let your being be your prayer. You no longer need to climb to the heavens to find your power. You are the heavens, descending into form. You are the sacred walking. You are the manifestation, becoming conscious of itself. And from this knowing, miracles are not made. They are recognized, because what you have longed for, what you have wept for, what you have dreamed beneath stars and screamed into pillows in the dark was never lost. It was only buried beneath the noise. And now the noise has softened. The veil has lifted. The alignment has returned. And you, holy, radiant, infinite, you have come home to yourself. There is nothing more to do. There is only everything to allow. And so it is. And so it always has been. And now, now you are free.